Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're having a fantastic day today. In the studio, we're checking out the PRS SE Pulse guitar. So as I mentioned, we're checking out the PRS SE Pulse guitar. There's definitely some features on this instrument that make it stand out in the PRS lineup. And of course, this is the SE model, which makes it much more affordable than the Core. All right, so let's start by talking about what makes this guitar unique in the SE line. Well, the Pulse guitar has a very unique bridge. This is the same bridge that's found on the USA Core model that costs like $4,000. So this bridge is very high end. You can see we've got two giant brass posts that anchor the bridge into the body. When we look at the bridge on the top, you can see little circular columns of brass. That's right, every single one of your strings sits on a little piece of brass. And when we look at the bridge from the opposite side, you guys can see those shafts of brass kind of embedded into the bridge. Super awesome high-end bridge. Next up are the special electronics. You get TCI-S pickups, which are kind of the S version of the Core model pickups, and you get two little mini toggles here for splitting the coils. Now the whole thing with the TCI pickups and the splits are they're supposed to give you a true single coil tone that sounds better than just your average humbucker split. So I think what I'm going to do is split these guys up, test them up against a Strat, because I want to know how good these things sound. Now moving beyond the high-end bridge and special electronics, there's a few aesthetic appointments that makes the Pulse guitar kind of stand out from your average PRS. Number one, you get vintage style tuning machines with these black buttons. Now these are PRS designed tuning machines, they're unbranded. And you know, in this price range, I think a lot of guitars would have, you know, either locking tuners or at least Grovers, or in this case, maybe like Godos or Kluson Deluxe or something like that. So these are just kind of unbranded, you know, PRS designed tuning machines. They look okay, you know, but I would say they're not the most high end in the world. You also get special pickup rings here, and every single Pulse guitar I've ever seen has like the best top. Just really gorgeous stuff. We'll talk about that in a second. And I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the birds. I'll take some shots for you guys. I don't know who they have sourcing their abalone these days, but just vibrant and beautiful. Every single one is a head turner, and this is real abalone shell. So, I mean, that's a very high-end appointment on a guitar like this. Yeah, had to mention that because they're drop dead gorgeous. So that's what makes the Pulse guitar stand out from the crowd. Other than that, we've got a three-piece mahogany neck, three-piece mahogany body. We've got a full thickness maple top. We'll take a shot for you guys. You can see the lower layer there is the mahogany, then there's the dividing line, and a really thick piece of maple top. And then of course you get the flame maple veneer on top. So you've got mahogany, maple, and then the flame maple veneer. So there you guys go. If you want to know the full specs, I will link to this guitar in the video description below. All right, now that we know what this guitar is all about, let's plug it in and test out some of these tones. The first thing I want to do is test out the coil splits versus a Fender Strat. That's one of the main features of this guitar is the coil splits are supposed to be very realistic and, you know, almost like a true single coil. So that's the first thing we're going to test out. And of course, I want to test out the middle position because there are a ton of tones there. You can go both humbuckers, both splits, you know, one humbucker, one split, flip them around. So that middle position has a bunch of different tones in it. We want to test all of that out. Here we go. All right, you guys, let's experiment with some of the tones on this guitar. Let's start with the neck pickup, and I'm going to be switching between the full humbucker and, you know, the single coil. You know, great tones for sure. Really creamy on that neck pickup. It's very smooth. Split it. You know, not a lot of loss in volume. Really love that. So if you play, you know, you just get a different tonality, but not a huge loss in volume. That is awesome on a guitar. Let's go to the bridge there. Just see how much we can drive this thing. Lots of sustain for sure. Let's add a little bit more gain here. Let's go to channel 2, full humbucker mode here. You know, lots of singing sustain. Let's go to channel 3 here. All right, so now let's go fully clean and check out some of these middle combinations. All right, so let's start with both humbuckers. Let's split. Ah, that's a great tone. Okay, so now let's have full neck with the split bridge. Let's reverse that. So split neck, full humbucker bridge. So when we have the split bridge with the neck humbucker, it's a little quackier to me than when we reverse it. So I'm just gonna flip the toggles. There you go. Yeah, great tones in the middle. I mean, there's 4 distinct tones. You can have both humbuckers, both split, one full, and then reverse. So lots of different combinations there, and really all of them usable. Now that we've heard this guitar in isolation, let's play over a backing track. Link to the backing track is in the video description below. As always, it's time for the 1-minute solo. All right, so let's wrap things up by talking about the playability and ergonomics and the overall construction. This stuff is super important to consider when buying a new guitar. Now, happily, I can say the ergonomics on the Paul's guitar is nearly perfect. It's almost 10 out of 10. It's really lightweight. It's really well balanced, so there's no headstock dive. It just sits where you want it to sit. And it's very comfortable with the scoop here, with the belly cut on the back, and there is no carve along the edge that can sometimes dig into your arm on some of the core models. So this one is very comfortable to play. The only area that I'd like to see improved is maybe the option for a satin on the back of the neck. I love guitars that are like high gloss everywhere, but the back of the neck is satin. So in the future, I'd love to see that as an option. That would kind of like just push it right up to 10 out of 10. So very, comfortable, lightweight, great playing experience. In terms of the rest of the playability, the nut was cut wonderfully. So, really low by these frets here. So the guitar stays in tune when you play, down here. And other than that, I would say the action was maybe slightly high from what I would prefer, but overall, very playable. Now, as for the overall construction, let's zoom in and take a look at a few key areas, starting with the nut. Now, this is a graphite nut. I think the core model gets a bone nut, but I've had no tuning issues up here at all. So no binding, that's great. And the way it's cut is very nice. All the lower frets here are in tune. So that means it was cut properly and there's been no binding, which, would cause tuning issues. So that's great. When we look at the fret ends, they look really nice. So no perceivable, filing marks or anything like that, any tools used on them. They're buffed up and they look great, including up high. So the fretwork on this guitar is really nice. And of course, no grittiness at all, just right from the factory, smooth sliding, smooth vibrato, smooth bending. So that's great. Another area I like to look is on either side of the neck for like finish glooping or discoloration or anything like that. And when we look on both sides, it's really clean. And I also noticed the mahogany on the neck right underneath the rosewood fingerboard has been stained the same color as the top. Nice little touch there. So instead of seeing, the mahogany there, it's all that same amber finish. Really nice. And other than that, how the bridge is affixed, all the knobs, the switches, everything feels really nice. So there you guys go. That's the PRS SE Paul's guitar. A pretty compelling package. You end up with a drop-dead gorgeous guitar with some pretty unique, aesthetic features and a bunch of different tonal possibilities. As I mentioned, the only thing I'd love to see on these guitars is the option for a satin neck. Not everybody likes to play on high gloss, and maybe an upgrade on the tuning machines. Although, to be honest, I didn't have any tuning issues with this guitar at all. They just don't feel like as premium as the rest of the guitar. So it'd be nice to kind of match that up. So there you guys go. I think it's available in teal and fire red as well. All the finishes, like, super awesome. The tops are gorgeous and everything. So there you guys go. That's a look at the PRS SE Paul's guitar. Thanks so much for watching. If you guys haven't subscribed to the channel yet, be sure to do so. Other than that, the rest of my information, tab store, t-shirt store, gear I use, links to the guitar, everything will be down in the video description below. Have yourself a great day.